Welcome back to Studio ShowBiz Entertainment. If you're new, click that subscribe button and click that notification bell so you guys don't miss out on a brand new video. So normally on these types of videos, I would have the lights on and I would play some kind of light show, or we would do basically some kind of challenge, but we're not doing that today. We're not going to focus on any of this because today, after 5 years, especially since the pandemic, I'm going to show you guys the changes and upgrades. Because if you guys remember 5 years ago, I showed you guys a lot of the games that I built, which were crap, but now a lot of those games are gone. And I've actually done a lot of upgrades, so I'll be happy to present to you the new and improved, updated game room. And here it is! The new and improved Studio ShowBiz game room, which a lot of you have wanted to see ever since I revealed the new setup. Now, this is probably smaller than your average game room, and it's definitely not the same layout as it was before because all my games were lined along the walls, but I redecorated a lot of the space, and you might see a few familiar things from how I've done the studio from over the years, and you might notice some new things as well. But yeah, I know what some of you guys might be thinking. Why do you have an arcade? You hardly even have space for your setup anyway. Well, the reason is because I love arcade games. I love the look of them, I like the aesthetic, and I like individual arcade cabinets. Like, I like the retro stuff like Galaga or Pac-Man, or just having Pong. But, you know, when people come visit the studio, this is actually another reason. When people come see the studio and stuff, whether it's friends or family who haven't seen this before, some people get bored with the light shows, which is actually true. So people get bored with the light shows and they don't want to just listen to music. They can come in this part of the studio, play some games, have some fun. And it's really fun with friends because I actually do this during New Year's. So I cut all the games on for once a year for New Year's, and I invite my friends over and we play games. Like we play Pong, or we just come in here and play Galaga, because that's literally everybody's go-to is either Galaga or Street Fighter. And of course, this game room has actually changed in the last 5 years. Because a lot of them were actually from my old arcade games that I built, and a lot of them were very much crap. But I've gotten more sense, speaking as an arcade tech, I've gotten more sense and I bought arcade 1-ups, which rarely ever go wrong, and I've done some upgrades to a couple of them. I've gotten a couple more, and I might be looking into another game, which will possibly be the last one I ever buy for now. That will possibly be coming very soon. So stay tuned for that if you want to know what that is. And I'm very excited to show you guys what I have. And I think we're going to start off with a classic. We have the original release of Galaga, which was part of the Wave 1 of Arcade 1-Ups, which includes the Classic Riser, which didn't have any art at the time, so this was a separate thing. And of course, this has actually faded artwork, but I'm actually looking into redoing it. And then next up, we have the Pac-Man 40th Anniversary Edition over here, which I have shown and reviewed in a video. If you want to go check that out, I'll put a link somewhere, or I'll put it at the end of the video. It's really rather long. We actually did a comparison to both of these cabinets. And the other one we have here is the original Street Fighter from Wave 1 as well. I really like this game a lot. I really wanted Mortal Kombat, but everybody loves Street Fighter, and so do I. I've actually grown into it a lot more. So it's really a great hit at parties, and when you have friends over, people always compliment it. And I think this one is my particular favorite. The Miss Pac-Man Galaga Class of '81. I think this is literally one of my favorite cabinets. I've actually worked on the original cabinet. I think everybody loves the Class of '81. I mean, if you don't, you're freaking crazy. But I think you appreciate it a lot more, especially in this form, and I'm really glad they made this edition. I would like to get the upgrade, but I just feel like it might be too big, but I don't know. But I'm happy with this. This is probably one of my favorite ones. This was definitely worth the purchase. I particularly love the light up playfield because I think it brings more originality to the arcade 1-up equivalent. And of course, one of my most fanciest ones I have in this particular spot is the Star Wars pinball, probably the most expensive arcade 1-up I've ever bought. The reason I bought it is because I like pinball, but pinball, and if you are a tech, which I am, I've never worked on a pinball machine, but I know just from what I see and hear, and from what I've watched in person somebody do, they are a bitch to work on. But what I like about this is that they try to keep the feel of an arcade cabinet. And so this actual thing has physical solenoids like you do get in a real cabinet, but it's a virtual, and you get 10 different games to play, which is great, and it goes through all the different Star Wars movies and episodes. It's really great. But the other thing I like about this spot is the change of decor, which you might notice a few things from the old studio, but you might notice some things you have not seen before. Like this over here is actually legit. You probably have seen me take this down in the old remodel of the studio. This was actually hanging on this wall just out here. I had to make some decisions if I wanted to actually have it out here, and I really did. So what I did was I mounted it on the wall this time rather than having it on like a little shelf. I mounted it, but I added some fairy lights to give it like a really nice Pete's Time Theater vibe, and it works. It works really well. I'm very happy with it. And then another thing is this sign up here, because I am also a McDonald's collector. So I used to have, well, I still have quite a bit of collectibles, but this one is actually pretty interesting, and I went on a limb to buy it because these are actually pretty rare. You don't see signs like this, and the reason why I bought it is because it's reminiscent to my childhood McDonald's that had something similar to this called Ronald's Substation, because I think what they did with certain franchises is that they went with a certain theme for their play places, and I guess for some of them they didn't call it play places, so they called it like Lunar Space Station or Ronald's Substation, which is basically an underwater theme. Which is really cool. It had like a neon sign out the window, so that's kind of why I bought it. But what I thought would have been interesting was to pretty much organize all the space games together, like Galaga and Star Wars, and make it the Lunar Space Station. I thought that'd be kind of cool, but I remodeled the place and painted the wall, and so I just hung it up for decor now. I'm over-explaining, sorry. And of course, I have some more artwork over here, which we have Munch. You gotta have some other Chuck E. Cheese stuff. And of course, our favorite painting are the Patrick Lisa. The Patrick Lisa. That's literally one of my favorite things ever. And I also have a Grand Tour poster because you gotta love the trio. And then this was actually from our old game room. This is from the old stuff. I never thought I'd put it back up, but I did. And now we're going to be moving out to this side over here. 4-player Pong pub table. I love Pong, and I love Atari, and I love Atari games. I wasn't actually going to buy the 4-player, but I wanted something that made a reference to Dave & Buster's 4-player Pong. And so I thought this would be cool, which everyone has said this is probably one of the favorites that I actually have. They said it's like the coolest thing they've ever seen me own. So it's really fun. You get like multiple games on it. Plus my particular favorite on here is Tempest. So it's really fun to play. I actually really enjoy it. And then of course you have the other cabinet over there, which is literally a cabinet that I built, which is way overdue for a little makeover and to actually be completed. I might go ahead and change the marquee and maybe add some side decals. Maybe put some storage underneath and put in some more consoles. Who knows? And that is our brand new and improved Studio ShowBiz arcade game room. And this is probably my favorite layout I've ever done. And you know, there's always still room for improvement because the studio has always been, in the last 11 years, been slowly upgrading and improving and just getting better. So if anybody ever wants to see more of this game room, and there's a game in particular you want to see more of on this channel, let us know in the comments below. And if you guys have any questions about the arcade, I will be happy to answer them. Anyways, on that note, it is time to end. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you all in the next Studio ShowBiz video. Talk to you then.